What do you do when your favorite hobby starts to feel monotonous, starts to feel boring? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I have a ton of travel going on right now. So if you're wondering why this is kind of a short episode, that's why. I thought this would be a really good opportunity to take a quick break and just talk about what to do to spice up your hobby of whiskey once again, to feel a little bit less monotonous, a little bit more unique or like exciting again. So we've all been there, right? Like we've all been where it's like, whiskey kind of feels, I'm buying new stuff every once in a while and it's all tastes different, but it's just different and, it's less exciting. We've all gotten there before, and sometimes it's just a simple matter of you're getting burnt out. But here's a few tips that I think are really good ways specifically for the hobby of whiskey to fix that burnout. And we've all been there before. We've all been burnt out on different hobbies before, but specifically looking at whiskey, here are some things that I've come up with. And I want to say, I make content on whiskey. I have tried to make it my living. This is currently what I do for a living. And I obviously get burnt out because I'm constantly having to do it. And sometimes it feels like work and I have to do these tastings and I have to do them behind a camera and it's easy to get burnt out. I say all of that to say, I think I'm kind of a master at coming up with ways to make it exciting again, because I've had to a bunch of times, and I have to with my content. My audience would get bored if every single video that I did was just, here's what this whiskey tastes like. That'd be boring. So I have to come up with new ways, and I've come up with these ways, especially for myself personally, that I have found really, really help reinvigorate me a little bit. So the first two are non-whiskey ways to reignite the passion, which sounds weird, but it'll make sense here in a second. And then I'm going to get to like ways that are still enjoying and drinking whiskey that I also think reignite the passion. So the first one that's not drinking whiskey is the opposite of drinking whiskey. It's dry months, dry weeks. Go dry for a little while. If you feel like, man, like whiskey's all the same, I've kind of lost the passion for it, spend a month or challenge yourself to a month or 2 weeks or whatever's a challenge for you and say, I'm not going to drink anything at all. Or if you have a really healthy relationship with your drinking and you don't feel that you want to take a dry month, you think I'm okay. I'm just going to do, a little bit less drinking this coming month. Maybe switch it up to beer or to wine or something a little bit different. Even if it's only temporary, you're not cheating on whiskey. You're allowed to just step away and take some time off. And I love doing dry months, and I find that at the end of the dry month, that first glass of whiskey tastes better than any glass I've had in the past 6 months, because I'm actually appreciating it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is like what it was all about 6 months ago. This is what I loved about it, and so that really helps. So don't be afraid to take a dry month, or the second tip is, why stay loyal to whiskey? So I kind of mentioned this, try craft beers, try wines. Also, rums, tequilas, brandies, dark wines. These are all things that if you have a palate for whiskey, there's a high likelihood you're going to like one of these. I love most of what I just mentioned, although I haven't really gotten into brandy. But rum, tequila, and wine, the ones that I've done like serious tastings of, I've always enjoyed it. It's different. It's kind of like, you have this flavor wheel, right? And you have some whiskeys that are in the top right of the flavor wheel, some that are in the bottom left of the flavor wheel. But they're all on that flavor wheel. Tequila's like using a different flavor wheel. It's like, what? Like, this is totally in a different ballpark of what I would have imagined. Now, I know the ideal flavor wheel covers all the flavors in the spectrum, but most of the time you find this getting confined to these few different categories of flavors. And when you try something different, you get to really break free from that. And maybe you'll hate it, and if nothing else, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's why I love whiskey. So don't be afraid to try some other stuff. And then if you want to drink whiskey, but you want to make it a little bit more fun, do some blind tastings, do a bracket, do a ranking. That can be a fun way to really change it up a little bit. So start doing blind tastings if you're not doing them yet. Maybe set yourself up a bracket of 8 or 16 or 32 different whiskeys that you want to put head to head and see what shakes out on top. That can be a really fun way to kind of mix it up a little bit. Maybe do a tasting of 4. Be careful, use a spittoon or only do like 1/4 ounce pours, whatever, and rank them. That can be a fun way way to like change it up a little bit. And it can also help you refocus on the notes and the whiskey and the quality, and it can help you remember like that's what I'm here to taste. I'm not just here to sip on this and not really appreciate it. That can really help reignite that flame as well. Also, don't be afraid to do blind tastings or brackets or rankings with different styles. So don't just think about brands or Scotch versus bourbon or something like that, but what about like adding a droplet of water versus not adding a droplet of water? What about trying this whiskey not as a blind tasting, but trying it neat and trying it on the rocks and seeing which one you like more? You can do fun stuff like that to shake it up a little bit. You can also make different cocktails. You can go real far with an old fashioned. I've done this on Instagram where I've made a uncountable, like a countless amount of different old fashions. I don't even know how many at this point. You can try different variations of old fashions. You can try totally different cocktails. You can keep it whiskey based. Try a Gold Rush. Try a whiskey sour. Try variations of those. Try old fashions. Try Manhattans. Whatever, and that'll really change it up for you as well. Another one that I think is very underrated. Pairings can be very exciting. Obviously, if you know me, you know I'm a fan of cigar pairings because it's literally part of what I do. Perfectpairingclub.com, shameless plug if you want one cigar delivered to your door every week. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. But cigar pairings, go to your local brick and mortar shop and buy a cigar if you're into cigars. Try pairings. But also if you're not into tobacco products, you can do food pairings. You can do chocolate. You can do coffee. You can do all sorts of different things. Different types of palate cleansers. We've done them on the show. We've done chocolate, lemon, just different types of crackers, ginger from sushi tastings that's used as a palate cleanser. You can do like charcuterie as pairings / palate cleansers. There's lots of really fun directions you can go with that, and try pairing them with whiskeys and see what happens. The thing about pairings that I can't communicate enough, because I'm always trying to communicate this for the Perfect Pairing Club, is if you get a good, proper pairing, they can be hard to find. But when you get one, it is not what you think. It is not, oh, this tastes a little different and this tastes a little different. A good pairing is like, I can't even believe that these two things just came together and taste like this other weird thing. Or I can't believe that this whiskey now has notes of like grapes. I've never would have thought I got grapes from this. I can't believe that this cigar now has notes of wine in it or whatever. Like pairing's a good proper pairing, and you can do this with food. You can do this with other drinks or palate cleansers. A good proper pairing is wild. It's a wild ride. So don't be afraid to do pairings. And then another one is home blending, and I myself am just recently getting into this, and it's a lot of fun. So what I mean by home blending, and a lot of people don't realize this, so your favorite distillers, they are taking different barrels, at the very least, if it's not a single barrel, they're taking different barrels and blending them together in order to get a flavor profile that they want. And a lot of sourced distillers who are buying different barrels from different people are putting together, they're literally taking different whiskeys, putting them together and trying to get a flavor profile out of it, or seeing what flavor profile shakes out. And the reason I say that is to say, you can do that at home. And it is fun, and it is way harder than you think it is, and that's what makes it fun. You can say, I've got this rye whiskey, and I've got this bourbon, and I've got this American single malt. Let's try different combinations of these three. Let's try just two of them, and then just the other two, and in different ratios. It's a ton of fun. And if you want to start by keeping it really simple, you can just target one specific type of blend, like I've been doing on social media with Poor Man's Pappy. I'm just targeting wheated bourbons, putting them together and trying to make it kind of taste like Poor Man's Pappy, or taste better than Poor Man's Pappy, or from whatever I can remember, tastes kind of like Pappy Van Winkle. That's a fun one to do. I know the guys in the Discord, a lot of the folks, guys and gals, on the Discord, are doing a wheat whiskey with a bourbon to kind of give like a wheated bourbon profile. They've been talking about that a lot on the Discord, and I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really excited to. As of the recording of this episode, I haven't tried it yet. So you can get into different things with home blending. That's a ton of fun. Just pick a muse, pick what it is that you want, what type of a flavor you're looking for, and have fun with it and see if you can make it happen. I recently did that with Bananas Foster. I knew that I have a couple different whiskeys that are kind of banana-y, and then I wanted to add some like cinnamon, caramelized like burnt sugar notes to try to get like a Bananas Foster. And so I've been having fun with that. I haven't done a good job of it yet, but I've been having fun with it. And that's a really fun way to change it up and to also take some of that agency into your own hands. So the moral of the story is any of these are a great way to shake things up, and there are other ways as well, but I think they should spice things up a little bit for you. So just try one. If any of them stand out, give them a try. But most importantly, like, don't be afraid to change it up. Don't be afraid to break out of the mold of if you're only drinking bourbons or if you're only drinking scotches or if you're only drinking whiskey. Don't be afraid to try wines for a little bit. Try some craft beers, whatever, and change it up. And then you can always come back and maybe you'll appreciate whiskey way more after you do that. The moral of the story is whiskey is meant to be fun. And if it's not feeling fun anymore, then either shake it up or do a dry month or try something different, whatever. But just make sure that you're having fun with it. And don't be afraid to have some fun with it. Don't be afraid to be a heretic. Man, I say things online all the time that people just can't stand because I'm just having fun with it. Don't be afraid to have fun with it. Hopefully you guys got some beneficial tips from this episode. I'll leave you with learn to drink, drink to learn. Hi there. Since you're still here, I'm going to assume that you enjoyed the show, in which case, please just take a moment to leave a 5-star rating or review on whatever platform it is that you get your podcast from. Subscribe to the podcast because that actually really helps out. And also, if you're on YouTube, ring that notification bell. If you really like this show, though, the best way that you can support it is just checking out that Patreon page. It's in the description in the show notes or in the description on YouTube. Or you can go to patreon.com/whiskeynoobs. That is the absolute best way to support the show, but also just spreading the word to other people who you think might be interested. I am so grateful for all of the forms of support that you guys give. And please, 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 most importantly, always drink responsibly. Thank you guys all so much. And in case nobody else tells you today, I got to tell you, God bless.